my tribe.
So, yep, we're here at Gen Con in the DGS booth, and they have Freeblades for the first time ever here at Gen Con. I'm here with Tom Meyer. Tom, what do you have here on your hands?
What we've got here today is our Skirmish game, which is a 32mm realistic scale 6 to 18 figure skirmish game that we just released this year. And our booth here, we're in Entrepreneur Avenue, where we received a marketing fellowship from Gen Con LLC, which is a competition they have for new companies, first-time attendees here at Gen Con.
And you're in charge of the DGS, and that stands for what?
DGS stands for Dead General Society, and it goes back to some of the guys who are, some of us are former military, and it's an old club they had, but it's the idea of getting better at gaming, historical gaming, and it was a good name, and we do business as DGS Games as an abbreviation.
Okay, and so with you, you have a whole selection of your miniatures, and you also have your new rule book.
That's right. We've been making miniatures for a couple of years, and then at first we were just doing role-playing miniatures, and then we decided to develop a skirmish game, and we play tested it for about 2 solid years, pretty intense play testing, and got the book printed this summer. Our first release of the rule book was at Origins, and then we came here to Gen Con. The rule book itself has 4 factions in it, and we've got starter boxes for them and some additional figures that you can buy.
What's the pricing on the starter boxes?
Starter boxes are $32, and the rule book's $32, so about $65 with tax. You know, you can get into the game. And the starter boxes, they are all pointed out, matched up evenly in the game, so if you and your buddy buy a starter box, you can start playing right out of the box. And some of the starter boxes are 6 figures, some of them have 7 figures, so it's really trying to make it even, easy to get into the game and not have any bias based on price.
Okay, let's can we take a little look around your booth?
Sure can.
So over here we have a demo of the game going on.
Yeah, over here we're running in-booth demos.
What swordsman is? You see the model has a sword and dagger.
You're trained in multi-sided dice. The core of the rule system is a tiered dice system where target numbers and modifiers tend to remain the same. But the better a character is, the larger a die and they roll so that they can pick up. It's easier to roll a 4 on a 12-sided die than on a 4 or 6-sided die.
But you have your own dice for this game. You have a whole bunch of strange dice, am I correct?
That's right. Some rather non-standard dice such as the D14, D16, and the D24, which you normally don't find in your deck.
And I think you have them over here right behind you.
Instead of doing damage, you increase the die level of your sword attack by 1.
So where did the dice come from? What manufacturer?
Kaplow Dice.
Kaplow? Okay.
Kaplow. So, you know, a U.S. company. All of our miniatures and our rule books are all published here in the United States, something that, you know, is kind of important to us.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are the odd ones? Where's the D16?
There's the 24, there's the D16, and this great big one here, this is the D14. As you can see, it was the only one that they actually manufacture that has the same white with black numbers and opaqueness. We've been talking to a couple of companies about making a custom D14 for that we can sell with the game set, but at this point in time, that's what we're using.
Now, so do you really need to buy those dice, or does it depend on what you play? Or
if you've got, a lot of people have a lot of these same dice already in hand, and when you start, the biggest die you really need when you start out is a D12.
Okay.
We do have some rules in the game that if you don't have the odd-sized dice, there are rules to modify your die rolls to kind of make that percentage still the same. So if you don't actually have that die or you can't get one, we've got some rules in the rule book to cover you until you can pick one up.
But most gamers are they really want an excuse for that D14 or
People
D16.
like dice.
Yeah.
Another excuse to buy a new die. I've never seen a gamer turn one down.
Here we have in the display case some of your figures. So the Black Rose Bandits, the Grular Invaders, and what are your 2 other factions?
The 2 other factions, far right here, the 2 other factions are the Haradel Inquestors and the Trillian Seekers. The Haradel Inquestors, kind of your standard knights, honorable knights type faction, and the Trillian Seekers being kind of your tree-dwelling, forest-dwelling folks.
And over here on the demo table, I saw maybe some Questers.
Yep, those are the, so on the demo table we have the Haradel Inquestors versus the Bandits. giving people exposure to a lot of the different other races in the world of Phelan that we've created. Especially here we have the Shock Room, which is kind of an amphibious reptilian race.
He's kind of a neat little figure.
Yeah, he is. And then the Grular Invaders, sometimes people call them, demon summoning Mongols. They've got some packs with demons. And then in the larger case, we have a variety of creatures. And then we've also tried, as we've been developing the game, to get at least one figure of each of our future factions developed so that we at least have the look and feel of those factions so people can see what's coming down the pipe in future years.
Now, are these usable in Freeblades, the monsters here?
Yes, we've actually got specific scenarios in the rule book. One's called Beast Hunt, where your free band is sent out to try and capture or kill one of these beasts, and then depending on how large of a free band you want to create, which beast we recommend you go after for being balanced. We also have some of these demons for a scenario called Demon Infestation, where we have these witch gates that the demons are coming out of, and as they come out of it, you have to try and close the witch gates before too many demons come out and defeat your free band.
What do you have going on Kickstarter right now?
So on Kickstarter, we have the Tribes of the Urtigar. And the Tribes of the Urtigar are kind of a feral people.
Yeah.
They are related to another faction genetically and by race, but they chose to go and live on the plains as opposed to the other people split off and they live in dwellings and are farmers and things like that. But to hire the sculptors and the artists and get production molds made takes capital, and so we're using Kickstarter to try and get our next faction bring it earlier. We had a business plan called for us to do it in a couple of years. With the great success we're having in popularity, well, let's try and bring those miniatures to the market earlier, and Kickstarter is the way we're going to try and do that.
Okay, now rules-wise, what starts to separate Freeblades from some other companies or some other skirmish games?
Well, certainly the tiered dice system, the way we've set that up, that target numbers and die roll modifiers remain the same, but you just start to roll a larger die. There's similar systems out there, admittedly, but we tried to take the best parts of each of those and discard the less good parts.
Okay, great. And what else can we expect besides the Kickstarter campaign?
We also have a plan that we don't want to abandon any of our older factions. So the factions we've just released, we've got a solid 2-year release plan for those, so that if you buy some of the factions we just came out with, and a new faction comes out later, we're not going to quit producing figures for the older faction. The other thing is with 17 factions in the world, we've actually been playtesting them all simultaneously to try and avoid what you sometimes see in games where a new faction comes out and it's suddenly the super faction that can beat up everybody.
Now, did you say 17 factions? 1-7?
1-7.
Okay.
17 factions, and that's not the limit. The sky's the limit. Is imagination and popularity of our fans.
So you expect to stay on the skirmish level, but if people want to buy more, they buy more warbands or...
Well, we have 2 other somewhat corollary parallel game systems. One, we have a role-playing game which uses the same tiered dice, same spells, same background. It's an open playtest game that's on our forums on our website at dgsgames.com, and anybody can go in there, download that role-playing game and play it and give us feedback. It's much more detailed in magic and fighting like a role-playing game would be. On the other end of the spectrum is we have a game called Blade Master, which is an army game, which we continue to play test, which would be your standard, 40, 50 figures on a side. Certainly a challenge there for us is the capital to produce that many figures, but also for Freeblades, people can get in, try out our game system, because the tiered dice system carry over. And the interesting thing is that we've got rules where your figures and characters can move from one game system to the other. So your role-playing character can come in to be a member of a free band, or leader of a free band. The leader of a free band could go to the army and be one of your army captains or generals and move back and forth. So that's all kind of...
All set in the world of Phelan?
All set in the world of Phelan, right. So you can, if you've got a particular faction that you really like the Bandits or the Haradellans, you can have your Haradellin free band. You'll be able to build your Haradellin
Well, thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you.